uh, he can really tell you and shed just a little bit of light on you. So what's just a touch on your story, Brother Amir?
Thank you. So a little bit about my story is that I was convicted after a bench trial of first degree murder by extreme indifference. I got 420 months. Currently have done 6 years and 29 to go. Through the trials and tribulations that I've been going through, obviously there's a long journey ahead, but just from seeing how this type of time affects people around me is it's not something to play with. It's very serious. Just for the nature of the crime and how the system treats us as a people, how society looks at us, getting back into society, because there's been other people that have done those type of times that I have and got through them, but don't successfully re-enter back into society, end up back in here. So my primary focus on stuff like this is how am I going to survive not just the time, but how am I going to re-enter into society successfully without having to come back here?
Well, I can say for a person as myself, I've completed 27 years of incarceration thus far, and as moving along, when the sentence is done, I'll be at 32 years. One of the things that's really impactful for me is that I started out with a long sentence that was just really unbelievable, 59 years. And through the blessing of Allah, I was able to get a sentence reduction in a constitutional law, which leaves me with 5 years left. One of the things that me seeing young black brothers come in today is I understand that there's a generational gap. I also understand there's a generational wealth gap. And I also understand that how I grew up and when I see the young men today, they're growing up different. I grew up with books. The young men today grew up with technology. And technology is good to me in some form. One of the things that's scary to me is getting back out to a world that I know nothing of, and everything that I once knew doesn't exist anymore. And people within itself has changed. So I can understand the brother Amir's understanding of how he gonna make it through his time just starting out. Because one thing about prison is the buildings stay the same, concrete lasts forever because it gets harder, but the actual prison system somewhat stays behind because within the last maybe 3 years, they just started giving out laptops so prisoners can do education work on it. And what forced the system to do that was COVID, you know. And so one of the things that the brother Amir is trying to get up off the ground is a program called the Black and Serious. Now, do understand something. This man has never been in prison, doesn't know nothing about prison. You know what I'm saying? And he made some choices that we would all say we can't afford to come to prison. But he made some choices that led him to prison, and now he has to, you know, take on what's in front of him. But I'll let him explain what the Black experience represents and how it's supposed to be able to help people.
Well, thank you. I'll say that's a kind introduction about the program. I always tell people I never do the program enough justice. It's not about me, it's about the program. So the Black Experience program is designed to re-educate, I should say, our black prisoners. Primarily, that's the focus for now. We want the black men that are going to go back to their families that are in this prison system to understand where we came from, how we got here, and how to overcome some of these obstacles that is in our way of being successful. We don't want to play the victim, as a lot of other things been teaching us to. Like, this happened to us. Slavery happened to us. The 13th Amendment happened to us. But how can we get over these economic hurdles? How can we get out of this constant cycle of Willie Lynch? how can we overcome these terrorists and things that are being put upon us that primarily affect people in impoverished communities? How can we overcome these things? It's a week by week thing when we talk about the different eras that has happened. Week 1 was focused on our upbringings in Africa. Week 2 was the colonization of the Western world. Week 3, we talked about slavery, primarily the Willie Lynch letter. Week 4, we're going into the 13th Amendment. Week 5, we're going to talk about our revolutionary icons. Week 6, we're going to talk about the crack epidemic that happened to the Americans, primarily black. Week 7, we're going to talk about the modern inequities in society that we have to overcome in order to be successful. And week 8, we're going to do a positive outlook. We should be able to come with solutions, brainstorming together as a community of how to overcome these struggles we deal with today.
Now, folks, we do want to take into consideration that this is a young black man that's never been in trouble, just came to prison, and he's already trying to make some form of a difference and not even knowing anything about prison. Because one of the things that's really interesting about prison is that black folks in prison don't take care of their own, but one of the things they do is talk about the other races that take care of their own. You know, just to give you a little example, there was a young brother got off the chain bus, and, you know, he could tell but it was his first time, and he wasn't embraced by us, you know, but, you know, that's something that we have to work on because we ask for leaders, but we don't want to follow the leaders. And like I stated earlier, there is a generational gap. And, you know, the only way to continue to pull forward is older individuals have to pull the young people forward for the young people to understand. Now, we do understand that white America says that the young people need to get out the pajamas and go to work. Well, one of the things that's pretty interesting is I myself, I'm not into hard labor, but I don't deny anyone that is. But the young folks today, everything's at your fingertips. And so work smarter, not harder, you know. And there's a thing, so think about this. Think about this to everyone that's listening. What is more strenuous, staring at a computer for 8 hours or breaking rock for 8 hours? You know, it's at your choice or through your lens of how you may see it. For me, I would say the breaking rock is pretty physical, but it might keep your six pack going together. You know what I'm saying? But what it does teach you some good skills. But also staring at the computer, you know what I'm saying? You're putting the numbers, codes together, and everything. You know, and this, you know, this podcast is about, you know, a black man in America. Now, a black man in America goes through some changes. I don't know if it's because we're black. I don't know what the situation is. I just know that we're working from a disadvantage. Maybe that could be just how things were designed or just how things is. But we don't, but as the brother stated, we don't always want to use excuses. Because that's not something to use, because that's a disease that another young person could hear, and they're just going to go on with it and say, oh, it's because of black. Oh, it's because of black. You know, as it stands right now, we're trying to work with the iWalk. The brother's trying to get the program, the Black Experience, off the ground. And we're just trying to gain some traction and some ground on what are some of the best ways and ideas and versions to be the best that we can be. Even though we're in prison, that's not the end of the world. That's not the end of the world. It's not how you start the word. It's how you finish the race. You know what I'm saying? So just in reference, what would be some of the things that, as you are moving along, Amir, that you would like to see change? What's one thing that you would like to see change?
Well, first, this is a big hurdle to get over, but I see it as something easy if we all can look at it from the objective point. The prison staff, the administration, instead of looking to optimize prisons based on what the public wants, we should look inside. We should start looking at those people that have been making traction and changes in prison, and ask those type of organizing people, how can we put in place better programs to rehabilitate inmates? How can we help affect change while in prison so these same mistakes aren't made when people go back into society? How can we prepare people to not reoffend but to be successful? Those are some of the problems that we need to overcome, because in today businesses are starting to understand that locking up black men and women isn't conducive for society anymore. When most of the problems that are happening in society are being solved by prisoners reentering with great ideas. So how can we join the workforce? How can we help make solutions if we're not being helped reenter society?
Well, folks, I mean, you heard it from the young up and coming youth. So, if that's not on point and a reality check, I don't know what it is, because last time I checked in the state of Washington, they got a double tax on gas, they got a double tax on soda, and they also got a double tax if you got a family member in prison and you send them some money. So the young man is telling you that there's some things that need to be laid down as a foundation, because something that's interesting to me is that as I'm making some steps towards re-entering back into society, I am a Muslim, and re-entering back into society as a Muslim. Now I'm a Muslim and I'm black and I'm American. I mean that's something that I think about, because you have to be just like the New England Patriots at one point in time when Bill Belichick was the coach. He always said, prepare for situations, because you never know what situation you might be faced with in the football game. Now we can all go back to when the Seahawks and the Patriots played in the Super Bowl. Russell Wilson threw the ball. Malcolm Butler intercepted. But it was a situation that they prepared for, and they didn't know about that situation. And that's one way to look at life. You get out of prison, and you have to be prepared for it. You have to be prepared for people to close doors in your face. You have to be prepared for people to tell you no. You have to be prepared for amongst a whole bunch of things. But one thing that is for sure is that you gotta believe. You gotta believe in yourself. And so I just want to say, folks, as we're coming to a close, a black man in America, what does it look like being a black man in America? So, just on my part, I will say thank you for your ears. Thank you for your time. May peace and blessings be upon everyone. And just tell someone, pay it forward, and tell someone, hey, keep your head up, stay strong. Everything's going to go good. And the brother Amir is going to finish with his last words.
Well, thank you. I appreciate everybody's time and everything like that. As I should say as well, peace and blessings upon you. Assalamu alaikum. And have a good night wherever you are.